Hey everybody, it's your boy Eddie here today, aka Durio 1000. Today is November 29th, 2022. In this video, I am going to talk about white girls and what I have seen white girls with when I am out and about. There is nothing scientific to this. This is just my observation of being out in the club atmosphere, on the streets, at the shopping malls, at the grocery stores, at the parks, at the gyms. I like white women and I pay attention to what they like. So possibly I can not change myself, but just see what they like because I like them, so I see what they like. And in today's video, I am going to talk about what white girls like that I see. Now, this is not to be taken as gospel. This is not to limit your beliefs. This is not to make you not go and approach that attractive girl, whether she's white, black, Hispanic, or Asian or whatever. This is simply to put things into perspective. It's simply to show you or possibly enlighten you on why you might not be getting as many girls as others. So let's dive right into this. So I labeled this white girl flavors. Now, what we are looking at is a chart of hot. Over here, the red is hot and the black is cold. All right, this is a spectrum here that we're looking at. On one end of the spectrum, we have where women are throwing themselves at you. That's when you hot, spicy. And on the other end of the spectrum, where you have women are avoiding eye contact with you. Many women don't voluntarily initiate conversations with you. So we have two ends of the spectrum. Okay, and this is for white girls. This is not for if you're black. This is not for black girls. This is not for Hispanic girls. This is not for Asian girls. This is not for Indian girls. Now, you are free to do your own observation and graph and chart and let us know what you see out in the field. But this is what I see out in the field, out in the real world, okay? And let's define a few things. White girls here that I'm talking about are from average-looking white girls to top 10, like tens white girls. So, I mean, typically top 10s and 8s, 9s, and 10s to the 5s, 6s, and 7s. All of that are included in the term white girl. Okay. Now, again, we have our spectrums. We have red hot, then we have black. Okay. Now, let's start with the red hot. Red hot is women are throwing themselves at you. Now, this category includes mainly social media influencers, high-value men, musicians, and people who just have a big following. The Drakes, the Lil Waynes, what's the dude name? I Run Shoot, or whatever that guy's name is. KSI, Logan Pauls, Jake Pauls. The guys with a few 100,000 followers on Instagram, YouTube. All of them fall into the red hot area, okay? We're talking about women are throwing themselves, they're screening out women, they're getting messages from women day in and day out. That is the one end of the spectrum. That's the desired goal, or possibly the desired goal of most men, right? Every man wants women throwing themselves at us, right? That's common sense. It's common knowledge, all right? Let's move down one category. Next, you have, it's still in the hot end, you have white, okay? When I say white, I'm not talking about, light skin black guys or mixed black guys or light skin Hispanics or anything like that. I'm talking about white, like pasty white, German, red hair type white, right? That's the type of white I'm talking about. So they're white, above 6'1", average to above average muscle mass. So in this category, they aren't as hot as social media influencers, but they are, when I say how, I'm talking about white, for white girls liking, okay? So they will get approached quite frequently. They won't get rejected as much, okay? They will be seen out in public with multiple girls, okay? Now, this is a typical white guy that's above 6'1", okay? Generally does not have any problem getting girls. You have some PUAs, pickup artists, that are 6'1" and above, and they're slaying it. They're like killing it, and that is I'm not saying that's the only reason why, but in this world, we are, I don't want to say brainwashed, but we were conditioned from little kids watching Disney movies, watching TV shows that primarily featured white males and white girls, right? It's not, I don't want to call it brainwashing again. It could be brainwashing, but it's more, I think it's more of conditioning. When you see something on TV and you see like, wow, that must be, you've seen it on TV, so millions of people are watching it. So in your subconscious is like, wow, that's acceptable. That is what people are striving for, is to be with someone who everyone wants to look at. So watching TV as a young guy, it might be why I like white girls so much, seeing all these fine white girls on TV, on Baywatch, and all these fucking, what's the name of that show? A lot of shows. You have, Full House. You have, so many shows that featured white girls, movies. Look Who's Talking. You have all of these white girls, white women up on the screen, and of course they look good. I'm not trying to take anything away from that, but it's like that is what we were conditioned to want, because we were always looking at that, and it's possible that another reason is that opposites attract. They say, opposites do attract. So that could be another aspect. But the thing about opposites attract is that's not always the case. Sometimes likes like. Like sometimes you see a girl with your complexion and you're attracted to her. She's not the opposite of your complexion, So you have that as well. So it's not just conditioned by the TV. We're all humans and we all like different things. So what I'm saying, again, is not gospel, it's not scientific. This is just what I've seen. Okay? So let's move on to the next one. We're getting a little cooler now, but still hot. Average height, white guy, average looks with average, to above average muscle mass. So this range here is the typical average white guy. Okay, average looks, average to above average muscle mass, and he is going to still be warm with white girls. All right, he still might get approached, not as frequently as the category next to him, the white male above 6'1", okay? But the average white guy, average height white guy with average looks will get approached. All right? So, let's move to the next category, which is above average looks, above average height, and non-whites. So, this is going to be the Hispanics with above average looks, the blacks with above average looks, above average heights, and the Asians and the Indians with above average looks and above average heights. So they are not as hot as the average white guy, from my perspective, for white girls I see white girls with. Okay? So the next category is the average height non-white guy. And we have Hispanics, blacks, Asians, Indians, and average looks. All right? So this is where if you're not white, this is where the masses would fall into. All right? This is where most minorities will fall into. If you're average height Asian, average height black, average height Indian, average looks, you're going to be in the cool zone. White women aren't going to approach you. You will need to approach them the majority of the time. You would need to get their attention the majority of the time. You would need to stand out the majority of the time. Okay? You would need to dress better than your peers the majority of the time. If you're in this group, you are going to need to stand out somehow, some way with your peers. This is where most non-white guys are located on this spectrum. All right. This is where I'm located. This is where most guys are located. Okay. Now, of course, if you're above average looks, then you're over here. You're in the blue. Now, this yellow section here, this is where the average white guys who, are could fall for whatever reason. They could be balding. They could be a million different things. Maybe they dress poorly or what have you. They can fall into this yellow zone. Also, the above average looks and above average heights, non-whites, they can move up in the scale too. They can move closer to the hot side of the spectrum over here as well. So, depending on how well they're dressed, this is like a sliding scale. If you stand out above here, then you're not average, and you move up one or move to the left one. You can move, and in this group, someone in this group can move to the left here. Someone in this group can move to the left here. Like, this is where a lot of the PUAs that are, average height, white guy with average looks. This is where they are right here. But they actually slide to the left because of their brain, of their knowledge of psychology, of their knowledge of social dynamics, their knowledge of relationships, their knowledge of how to handle different situations. Okay? So you can slide to the left and get closer to the red hot area. But the opposite is also true. You can slide to the right. Well, these guys here, the left over here, they've basically solidified themselves. Okay? The guys on the left here who are social media stars, you have guys who motherfucking went to jail. You have O.J. Simpson. He's still banging these hoes. You have Afro Man, who came out with one hit like 30 years ago. He's still getting these hoes. Once you're over here and you have a following, then you there basically for the rest of your life, right? You don't even have to stay relevant. You there, all right? Once you get a certain amount of followers, those followers are with you for life. So this section here, you can't do no wrong. You can do no wrong at the left end of the spectrum, the red hot. You can kill somebody. You can be Jeffrey Dahmer. You can be whoever. Once you're here. You're hot. Once you're hot, you're hot. All right? But everybody else, they can slide. And even here, honestly, they can slide, like Afro Man and O.J. Simpson. They are still getting pussy, but it wasn't like when they were hot. It wasn't like when O.J. was motherfucking O.J. the Juice Man running and when he was in the NFL hot. All right, but women still throwing pussy that way. All right. So you can slide. The point is you can slide either way. All right. Now let's go to all the way to the right of the scale of the spectrum. You have guys who are shorter, 5'5", non-whites. Okay. Non-white guys, blacks, Indians, Asians, and guys with physical abnormalities, with visible physical abnormalities. This is the lowest. This is many women avoid eye contact. Many women don't voluntarily initiate conversations. This is where rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. So, and there's nothing wrong with being on either of these scales, okay? Regardless of where you're at, you can improve. The good thing about this world is that life is not fair, which is great, all right? So you have people who should be over here, but they're actually over here. Like they skipped the whole shebang by becoming popular, by becoming, what's the dude name? Melv the Great. I think that's his name, Melv the Great or Welv the Great. You have these people that, became famous for some dumb shit. And they got and then they went over. I don't know if Welv the Great went over all the way to the red, but he was over here. He took at least 2 or 3 steps, 2 or 3 moves to the left. I would say he went all the way to the orange. All right. So you can move. You're not. The point is you're not stuck there for the rest of your life. Okay. Even if you don't get famous, there are ways that you can move to the left 1 to 2 spaces. All right. You move over here. If you're over here, a non-white guy, and you do some things like you might not get 1 million followers, but you might get 200,000 or 300,000 followers, and you might move over to the left some. You might move right here to the average looks above average height non-whites. You might move right here. You might move right here. You might be moving in with average height white guys, average looks, with average to average muscle mass. Now, this spectrum does not take into account a lot of variables like heart and determination. This is just based on looks, okay? And this is not based on actual pussy, because what white women are seen out in the streets with is not necessarily who they fucking, okay? This is just my view on what I see white women out with in public, okay? Now, you can move over to the left and you can move over to the right. It's your decision on what you decide you want to do. All right? The world is yours. No one has to stay in the black. No one has to stay in the dark blue. No one has to stay in the light blue. No one has to stay in the yellow. And no one has to stay in the orange, but if you're in the orange, you probably doing motherfucking good. And if you're in the red, yeah, you on fire. You on motherfucking fire, right? Because when you have women throwing themselves, DMing you, and rejecting girls, you on fire. You say no to ratchet pussy, Juicy J can't, right? So that's what this video is about. Please like and subscribe. Also comment if you agree or disagree with my spectrum, my white girls flavors spectrum. All right. Thank you for watching. This is Eddie, and I'm out.